Ukrainian Sea Baby drones of the Ukrainian army installed more than 15 underwater mines near Crimea, thus hitting 4 Russian warships.
At 2:55 a.m. on October 8, 2025, the Black Sea was dark and silent, the waves whispering beneath a clouded sky. To the crew aboard a massive Russian warship near Crimea, it was just another quiet night on patrol. They had no idea that beneath the calm water, death was already coming for them. Silent, invisible, and unstoppable. Within minutes, their ship, Moscow's pride and unsinkable symbol of power, would be torn apart by a weapon the world had never truly seen before. This was the night Ukraine changed everything. The night underwater drones proved that brains could defeat brute force. For months, Russia's Black Sea Fleet had claimed control over these waters. They had bombarded Ukrainian cities, launched missiles from the safety of the sea, and mocked Ukraine's limited naval power. But behind the scenes, Ukrainian engineers had been working on something revolutionary. An underwater fleet of AI-driven drones, capable of traveling long distances, diving deep, and striking with surgical precision. They called it the Sea Baby Mark III, a weapon born from necessity, powered by technology, and guided by pure determination.
Ukraine used an armed sea drone to strike a vital bridge that links Russia to occupied Crimea. The weapons are remote-controlled, and tonight, for the first time, you're going to see the video feed from that sea drone.
Hours before the explosion, in a secure base along Ukraine's southern coast, a team of young operators watched their screens in total silence. Dots representing drones moved slowly toward their target, a Russian landing ship stationed near Sevastopol, one of Russia's most fortified naval zones. These drones weren't large, but they were lethal, coated in radar-absorbing material, equipped with sonar avoidance systems, and powered by electric engines that made them nearly impossible to detect. At 2:50 a.m., the target was locked. On the monitors, the massive Russian ship glowed orange in thermal view. The operators exchanged a single glance. Then came the final command: strike. At exactly 2:55 a.m., the first drone hit. The explosion shattered the stillness of the night. A thunderous roar echoed across the sea as the drone's warhead tore through the lower hull. Within seconds, the second drone slammed into the ship's starboard side, igniting the ammunition storage. The deck erupted in flames. Red alarms flashed. Russian sailors screamed orders, but confusion spread faster than the fire. At 2:58 a.m., a third drone struck from beneath, hitting near the engine room. The blast crippled power, plunging the entire warship into darkness. The radar went offline, communication failed, and the crew realized, too late, that they weren't fighting another navy. They were fighting machines they couldn't even see. By 3:02 a.m., a fourth drone delivered the final blow, striking the ship's command bridge. The explosion ripped through the structure, throwing metal, smoke, and bodies into the air. The warship began to tilt violently, taking on water. In desperation, sailors jumped into the freezing sea. Moments later, the ship rolled over and began to sink. By sunrise, the mighty Russian warship was gone. Satellite images taken just hours later showed a dark oil slick spreading across the water. The Black Sea's surface was littered with debris and burning fuel. Russia's Ministry of Defense quickly denied the loss, calling it Ukrainian propaganda. But the truth surfaced fast. Literally, Ukraine released drone footage showing the entire mission, the approach, the explosion, and the fiery wreckage sinking into the depths. Even Russian telegram channels, usually censored, filled with photos and desperate posts from the families of missing sailors. Faced with overwhelming evidence, Moscow could no longer lie. Their unsinkable warship had been sunk by underwater drones. This attack wasn't just another victory, it was a turning point in modern warfare. The drones Ukraine used were unlike anything the world had seen. The Sea Baby Mark III could operate fully submerged, travel over 800 kilometers, and carry explosive payload strong enough to destroy heavy armor. Controlled through encrypted satellite signals, they were invisible to traditional radar. Each drone cost less than a single Russian missile, yet had the power to sink a ship worth hundreds of millions. For Ukraine, it was the perfect answer to Russia's overwhelming naval strength. Instead of building expensive warships, they built smart, stealthy machines. Instead of fighting ship against ship, they fought with innovation, and won. Military analysts around the world were stunned. NATO officials called the operation a masterpiece of asymmetric warfare. The drones had traveled deep into enemy territory, bypassing Russia's most advanced defenses. The attack proved one chilling truth. Traditional navies are no longer safe in a world ruled by AI and drones. For Vladimir Putin, the loss was more than just a military setback. It was humiliation. He had promised that Crimea was untouchable, that the Black Sea fleet would dominate forever. But now, his flagship waters had turned into a graveyard. The fortress of Sevastopol had been breached once again, not by missiles or submarines, but by small, silent robots built in secret Ukrainian labs. Russian commanders are panicking. Many ships have already been moved from Crimea to Novorossiysk, hundreds of kilometers away, but even there, they aren't safe. Ukraine's drones have proven they can strike anywhere, anytime. The psychological impact on Russian troops is massive. Every time they hear the ocean's quiet hum, they wonder, are drones lurking below? Every shadow on the radar could be the last thing they see. The fear has spread across the entire Black Sea fleet. Meanwhile, Ukraine continues to innovate. Sources claim they're already working on hybrid drones, machines that can travel on the surface, dive underwater, and even coordinate with aerial drones during attacks. These swarms could one day destroy entire fleets in a single operation. The war has become a battle between creativity and complacency, and creativity is winning. Russia, desperate to respond, has deployed sonar traps, underwater nets, and even trained dolphins to detect drones. But so far, nothing has worked. The drones are simply too advanced, too unpredictable, and too fast. Each time Russia finds a defense, Ukraine changes its tactics. A Ukrainian military official summed it up best. Russia fights with weapons from the past. We fight with intelligence, not size. By morning, black smoke still rose from the water near Crimea. The sinking warship's final image, a burning wreck surrounded by waves, spread across social media. Millions watched the drone footage in awe. Hashtags like #CrimeAblast, #UkraineVictory, and #Putin. Panics began trending worldwide. Even within Russia, the truth couldn't be contained. Angry bloggers demanded answers. Families begged for information. Some called it a disaster, worse than the Moskva. One sailor's relative posted online. They said he was safe on the ship. Now they say he's missing at sea. In Washington and London, officials quietly praised Ukraine's operation. Though no one admitted it publicly, intelligence analysts believe Western support, through surveillance satellites and encrypted data sharing, played a key role in the mission's success. Meanwhile, in Beijing and Tehran, military planners began re-evaluating their naval strategies, realizing that traditional ships may soon be obsolete. At 2:55 a.m., the Black Sea was calm. By 3:10 a.m., it was chaos. By sunrise, it was history. The wreckage of a billion-dollar Russian warship now rests at the bottom of the sea, a rusting monument to arrogance and failure. For Ukraine, this wasn't just revenge, it was evolution. A small nation, once underestimated, had used intelligence, innovation, and courage to cripple a global power. For Russia, it was another symbol of decline. For the rest of the world, it was a warning. The future of war has changed forever. The age of massive fleets and heavy battleships is over. The new era belongs to invisible killers, machines that strike from the depths, guided not by humans, but by code. Wars will no longer be won by size, but by speed, precision, and intelligence. And it all began here, at 2:55 a.m., on a silent night in the Black Sea. Ukraine didn't just sink a warship, they sank an empire's illusion of control. And as the wreck settles deep beneath the waves, one truth remains: Russia's power is fading, and Ukraine's innovation is rising from below the surface. The Black Sea will never be the same again.